Character of the week. So, today's character of the week, Cletus Cassidy, better known as Carnage. I bet that movie was great. Cletus Cassidy was a cellmate of Eddie Brock at Rikers Island. When the symbiote found Eddie Brock, they formed Venom and escaped, leaving a little piece of Venom behind. My recollection at the time, I thought that he had scraped himself or something and left a little piece of him behind, and then it jumped over to Cletus. But come to find out that the symbiotes are asexual, and it was pregnant at the time, but it lacked paternal instincts to care about its offspring, so when it gave birth, it just left kids behind and kept it moving. How come you don't want me no more, man? One thing about Carnage that's actually pretty interesting is the fact that, like, Eddie Brock by himself is not Venom, and the symbiote by itself is not Venom. The symbiote combined with Eddie Brock makes Venom, which is why it says we are Venom. So Venom identifies as they, or we. Carnage, or Cletus Cassidy, I should say, embraces the nature of the symbiote. Just says, I am Carnage. Like, he is that. That is him. Like, his powers pretty much are like blade-like shape-shifting abilities with his appendage. He can form claws, he can form swords, scythes, sickles, projectiles, anything sharp and murderous that he can impale into people, he goes for it. Yeah, so there was a team up when he first appeared, no big deal, boom, 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 took care of him. Cool. Come on, Cletus! The one that people really care about is the second meeting of Carnage, which has formed that 14-part story arc over multiple Spider-Man books: Web Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Maximum Carnage.
Maximum Carnage.
In fact, it was so popular, let's see, he combined with a lot of the street-level heroes at the time, so Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Captain America, Cloak and Dagger. They all had to team up to fight a city that was really against them, along with an increasing body count from Carnage and his crew. Doppelganger, Carrion, Hobgoblin, Shriek. Was there anyone else? I don't remember if there was anyone else. It all led to a popular crossover, 14-part story arc, that whole thing. It was so popular, in fact, it was a video game based off of it. A side-scroller, beat 'em up, 2D. It was both on Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. I prefer the SNES version. Speaking of video games, actually, side note, the Red Symbiote was actually featured in another video game. It was Spider-Man 1 on PlayStation 1. The Red Symbiote had combined with Dr. Octopus and had formed probably like the most nightmarish, scary thing that was chasing you with with the 32-bit graphics that was chasing after you. That was pretty frightening if you think about it. He's been featured in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. Of course, they had to like dumb it down because he couldn't be a serial killer, so he was like some bomber, some arsonist. Carnage couldn't do mass murder, so his tendrils just drained life forces. He just puts people to sleep. Like, you can't show him murdering him, so we'll just suck his soul. Alright. Because Fox censorship. He's been featured in a Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. He was also featured in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. Speaking of Ultimate Spider-Man, he was also featured in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book series back in the 2000s. Carnage basically just kills. Lives up to the name. He's just a barrage of murder, and there is no way of rhyme or reason for it. If you are a fan of Carnage, seek help. Seriously. What's wrong with you? There's also recently Absolute Carnage, which involves some sort of magical twist to it. Because comics. So, shout out to... Why am I saying a shout out to Carnage? Because that's just... Back to you guys. Like, share, subscribe.